This
Okay.
conference will now be recorded.
There we go. Wait, Kevin, I can't see you or hear you. So I want to make sure Kevin, there he goes green.
I'm here.
That is
I can
all I
only
needed.
see myself. I can't see anybody else, but that's weird.
Jan is the same way. We're looking at a lot of people. So I'll assume if I can hear you and you can see us, then I'll go for 2 out of 3. Present and accounted for. Okay, we have a quorum of us and it's after 4, so I will, there's Kevin.
There we go.
Call to order the special virtual meeting of the Darien Police Commission, the 2408th. First order of business is the acceptance of minutes of April 1st, 2021. Do I have a motion to approve those?
Motion.
I will second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Correspondence, none, Chief, unless something has materialized since this was drawn up.
I think on the agenda, the only correspondence, but I think it was on the agenda proper for the request for retirement for Lieutenant Patone. I think that's be further down the agenda.
That's down in new business, so we will get to that. Captain Marin, department activity?
Yes, rather short report this session here. This is from April 1st to April 13th. On April 5th, a 27-year-old Norwalk man was arrested by warrant for his role in a phone scam on elderly victims back in July of 2019. On April 6th, a 47-year-old Darien man was arrested for his role in a domestic violence incident back in November of 2020. On April 12th, a stop sign was reported stolen from the intersection of Talmadge Hill Road and Mansfield Ave. Since April 1st, the Patrol Division and Traffic Division have conducted, and as of today, we're up to 117 traffic stops in numerous areas of town that we've received speeding complaints on. And unfortunately, we had a couple more overnight burglaries, unlocked cars, 2 stolen cars which were left unlocked with keys in them, 10 motor vehicle accidents as of yesterday. 1 involved minor injuries, and again, the majority occurring on the post road. And then one other addition is that, unfortunately, we had a commercial burglary of an eyeglass store on Tokenique Road last night. And that is all.
Okay.
Just as a quick follow-up to the motor vehicle burglaries and the stolen cars. I was reading a story this morning out of Hartford where yet again, another 15-year-old juvenile with a couple accomplices were involved in stolen cars, and they rammed the police cruiser, causing injuries to the officers who had to be hospitalized. So it's still a wide-ranging problem across Connecticut with these juveniles. So we once again implore folks to please lock their car and not leave their keys in there. This is what happens when they're not locking the cars and leaving the keys in it. So.
All right. Old business, COVID-19 update.
Captain Shredder's gonna, I think, talk to that. I think we're still in very good shape.
Fingers crossed. We've had no new cases since I think it was January, early January. So,
All right.
Respect to that, we're good.
Yep. Well, hopefully with the vaccinations and whatever else is going on, we're at least at the Darien Police Department heading on the downside. Building issues. Captain, is that you too?
Yes. So today we had our new window cleaning company cleaning the inside and outside of our windows. They did a great job. Tomorrow morning, they're going to start the prep. There's 2 server rooms for our new fire protection system. So some of the prep starts tomorrow, and the next week the electricians are going to come. And then they're going to come back one more time to tie everything together. Tomorrow's the tanks and the piping. Next week's the electricians, and then the whole thing will be assembled after that. I'm in talks with Tony Campanella from DPW. We're still trying to get automated logic in here for a final meeting to go over the little quirks in the building with the new HVAC system. There's a few areas of the building that we want to have tweaked, but everything seems to be, working properly. The fob system is completed. I think this week they were just finishing up the Sally port and the garage bay doors. So that's almost done and everything has been working well. So that's it. The sewer, again, the sewer problem, the system we had installed seemed to be continuing to work. So we hope to get the locker room carpeted as soon as the floor company is done at Town Hall. They're going to come over here and install the carpets back into the female locker room. So we're just waiting on that too.
This is a quick follow-up to the server room. If maybe someone's watching who's not familiar with that, you know, we have over between $4 and $5 million worth of electronic equipment in that server room, basically the brains of the entire building. When the building was done, it was plumbed with a fire suppression system that is water-based. Although that does meet code, if it ever gets tripped, we all know with electronics and water that they don't peacefully coexist. So the new system in there will give us a fighting chance for protection of all our hardware in the building to keep us up and running. So again, not inexpensive, but money well spent to protect a $4 or $5 million investment in that equipment.
Indeed. Any other questions or comments? Okay, new business. Few items under traffic. Is that you, Captain Shredders, or Chief? Who's taking the lead?
Well, we have the
First one
request.
is the pedestrian bicycle signage for Pear Tree and Longneck Point Road.
I'll jump in that real quick. The commissioners and I have had this conversation about potentially putting that type of signage in that area. As we all know, it is a congested area for both bicyclists and pedestrians. Commissioner Hufford saw some signage, I believe, on Block Island. It's pedestrian and bicycle based. It can be installed as an adjunct to regulatory signage. It basically says, you know, ride right, walk left. And I think there's one other saying on that sign. I don't have any aversion to putting those signs in that area. I would consider perhaps that we put it in seasonally and or move them around from pole to pole. We all know the signage tends to blend in once it's put in, and the novelty of taking it in and out sometimes makes people sit up and notice a little bit better. So I have no aversion to putting in that type of advisory signage to remind bicycles and pedestrians what state statute requires them to do. So I would recommend to the commission that we approve that signage around Longneck and Pear Tree Point.
Just a collective question for the group here. Are there other areas, I agree 100% with that recommendation. Are there other areas of town that we should be considering as well that are, you know, high traffic pedestrian usage, bicycles, walking, things of that nature?
There may be some other spots. A lot of the roads, though, that are bicycle related other than West Avenue are state roads. So we do not have the authority to put those signs in on state roads. So we could not put them on US 1, Tokenique Road, Mansfield Avenue, Hoyt Street. If we do get requests, I would certainly consider requests from residents who think it would make a difference that we would put that type of sign in. But as we know, Longneck and Pear Tree Point are our main areas of a lot of pedestrian and bicycle activity. If we start there, I don't think it precludes us from putting it in on other roads under our control that would warrant it.
Yeah, Kim, I was going to suggest, do we want to make this motion in terms of, you know, do we have to approve each area each time? Chief, do you have an opinion on that, or should we just make a motion to approve, you know, on an as-needed basis?
I think we should do it as upon request. I think it should come back to the police commission if one particular road wants it. Yes, that way we have a record of when it goes in and upon request, rather than if it's open-ended, we put the signs in, we don't really have a record of when they went in. So I would recommend that we would do it on an as requested basis and have a record of that in the police commission minutes every time we do that.
Okay, sounds good. Thanks.
And
The only other road I would recommend, you know, adjacent to that area is Goodwives River Road as well. That's people are walking right in the middle of the road there too on the nice days they were today. We can consider it.
that I kind of think of as contiguous, but maybe to Chief's point, we should be more specific. How many signs did we order? 3, 4? I don't know. We'll put up what makes sense and see if it moves
Yeah.
the needle.
I would think it on the loop of Pear Tree and Longneck at least 2 on each road, if not 3. So well, Captain Shredders can certainly spec out and order a half dozen of those signs, and we can get them up and see how it goes and see how it's received and see if we need more.
Yeah, and I agree that it doesn't, once, obviously there's lots of roads in town that saw I would say excess activity with COVID, last spring. It was definitely more than usual, and unfortunately more people who didn't necessarily, there are people that walk every day who kind of get the drill and know, you walk against traffic and you bike with traffic. I think we've gone a long way in the last 12 months to people kind of understanding it. It'll be interesting to see if on all the roads in town, if we see the level of activity we saw 12 months ago, but I don't think it hurts to put a couple up, see if it helps, and then definitely move them around. I think that all of that, I agree, is it certainly works on Block Island, which I guess has the same problem. I don't go there that often, but I will make a motion to, I guess we have to order the signs and agree to put them up in this area based on Captain Shredder's recommendation. Is that what?
That works for me.
All right, I make a motion that we invest in a half dozen of these road signs to be initially placed in the area of Pear Tree Point and Longneck Point Road and possibly Goodwives River Road.
Second.
Any discussion further? All right, all those in favor? Excellent. Also under traffic, additional road painting at crosswalks on Leroy.
This is me. So 2 and 3, the additional sign has to do with the same crosswalk. So I don't know if you remember the commission meeting. I think it was in November. We had the residents from Hale Lane. They were worried about the crosswalk by the Board of Ed that connects Board of Ed and the Darien Sports Shop parking lot. So, and looking around and speaking with the chief, we were thinking about putting shark teeth painting, which is like basically they're a row of triangles, and the tip of the triangle points out towards oncoming traffic. So I'd like to do 2 rows at all 3 crosswalks on Leroy. And then place an additional sign alerting drivers that there's a crosswalk ahead. So a sign more towards the post road, just alerting that there's a crosswalk up by the Board of Ed. So I think that would alleviate some of the issues that they seem to be having there. And then we also have
crosswalks are all there. It's just we're trying to augment.
Just slow people down just a little bit more at those locations. There's already the appropriate signage there, but we just want to add a little more calming measures.
Those shark teeth are a universally accepted roadway treatment that is telling motorists that there is a crosswalk ahead. So in addition to the sign that says crosswalk ahead, it's a roadway marking that universally is known as slow down, there's a crosswalk coming up. So I think it's a pretty good measure that we can take. We are partnering with the state. They did ask us if there was roads under the control of the Legal Traffic Authority that might want rapid rectangular flashing beacon, which those are the yellow flashing buttons that a pedestrian then push when they wanted to cross the street. If the state, in fact, follows through with us, this is the location that we asked them that we would like to see a rapid rectangular flashing beacon system put in. We don't have any of them right now. The state is putting one in at the crosswalk by Hindley School. I don't know when the actual install is going to be, but as far as pedestrian safety, everything that we can do to try to protect pedestrians, I am in favor of, as I know the commission is as well. So hopefully the state will accept our recommendation that we try one of those on Leroy Avenue. The only downside, and it's not really a downside, that we may get requests for those at every crosswalk. No, I think there's one planned also for the Corbin redevelopment crossing US 1. So we should see a rapid rectangular flashing beacon system there as well. And they do work. Everyone who's seen them in action knows that if those yellow lights are flashing, that means there is somebody there who wants to cross. So I think it's a good idea. The installation of this roadway markings is a good intermediate measure until we can see if we can get that system installed on Leroy Avenue.
Yeah, I think that I don't have any trouble. Do you need a motion for us to approve repainting these, or?
Yes, since this will be a new install and changing what is there, yes, we would need a motion from the commission.
Okay, I will make a motion that we repaint or add additional road markings at the crosswalks. I guess it's the 3 crosswalks on Leroy Avenue. Second. Any other discussion or questions? All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Moving on from traffic, the new dive team members.
That one's mine. Next two are mine. We're a little short-staffed on the dive team currently. With Lieutenant Patone planning retirement, we'll be even shorter. So we polled our staff, and we had 3 officers that were very interested in beginning with the dive team. And after their applications were submitted and I received supervisory feedback from all 3 of these officers, everybody thought it was an excellent idea to appoint all 3 of them to the dive team and to begin their training as soon as possible. The next one, Lieutenant Aaron Zulu currently is commander of the detective division and had been the former K9 unit supervisor. He's tasked with a little bit more supervisory responsibility these days. And we've discussed together that it might be a good idea to place another supervisor in charge of that unit to kind of deal with the daily operations of the K9 unit. And Sergeant Mastriani expressed a great deal of interest in holding that role, and he was appointed to that as well, and I think he'll do a fine job.
Excellent.
I concur on both counts, and this is just a continuation of going to our bench and getting people ready to step up to the plate for the torch passing when the time comes. We need to fill these very important positions, and having 3 new dive team members that are fairly new officers here, they should give us many, many years of experience on the dive team, and probably one of them at some point will take over the command of the dive team. So, wholly concur.
Excellent. Okay, that does not require any move from us, so we'll move to the Tokenique constables. Chief, is that you?
Statutory requirement that constables are reappointed. I wholeheartedly support the reappointment of the 2 constables in Tokenique. I believe you have the letters in your packet that will need the commission chairman's signature at some point. We will need a motion to reappoint the 2 Tokenique constables noted on the report.
Chief, are they not all reappointed at the same time?
No, they come up on different terms depending on when a Tokenique officer retires and someone takes his place. There could be technically, I guess, a time when they were all appointed together, but it usually is not done that way.
Okay.
Well, I will make a motion to reappoint both Constable Com and Bacuzzi to their position. And second, any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
I will come in, Chief or Jan, to make that official. I know you need my signature, so I will do that. It is always with a heavy heart that I get to these items on the agenda, but we have a request for retirement from Lieutenant Patone. Chief?
Well, with a measure of regret, I will recommend to the police commission that they approve the retirement of Lieutenant Patone. Lieutenant Patone and I were both sworn in on December 4th, 1983. He was approximately 22nd senior to me. And whether I like it or not, I am now the last man standing from the 5 officers who were appointed on December 4th, 1983. He's had a very, very solid career. He is a type of officer that we will not see again. Old school, but technical knowledge and expertise. He has well served the town of Darien, way above the call of duty for 37 and a half years. For one, I'm sorry to see him go, but I realize some of the factors that come into play here when you've put 37 and a half years into a career. I wish certainly he and his wife Nancy, who's a retired state trooper, and their family all the best in the next chapter of their life. He will be very difficult to replace. I don't think we're going to replace his expertise and skill with any one officer in our department. The things that he is involved in and the expertise he has is going to take probably 3 or 4 different people to step up to the plate, at least initially, to do some of the things that he did. So an excellent employee, an excellent police officer, as well deserving of a retirement as any officer I have ever worked with in the Darien Police Department. So with a measure of regret, I do support his request for retirement.
Would we have to make a motion to accept his request?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. I do it begrudgingly, but I will make a motion that we accept Lieutenant Patone's request for retirement as of May 1st. I think it's May 1st.
Correct.
Second,
Second.
discussion?
No, those very nice, very kind words, Chief. I'm sure he appreciates it. And on behalf of all the residents, big thanks to Lieutenant Patone as well.
Those are easy words to say. He deserves all that and more. He has been a stellar employee.
All right, all those in favor? Chief, independent of Lieutenant Patone's retirement, but May 1st, we will start the process to replace.
Yes, as the commission knows, once there is an actual opening, the commission has 60 days to either appoint someone to that opening or abolish the position. I would think that the discussion should ensue as soon as possible with the commission. We will need a commission meeting and an executive session to discuss personnel matters and then to review personnel files and performance evaluations. The lieutenant retiring, we would need a lieutenant and a sergeant if the commission so moves to fill both of those positions. So I know Commissioner Cunningham is away next week, but I would hope that early in the following week that we could schedule a meeting and discuss that very fact of promotions in the department. The way our current list is, there's going to be some other movement in other assignments, such as the Detective Bureau. All 3 of the current candidates who would be considered for promotion to sergeant at this point are all detectives. They're all fine candidates, and I don't envy the commission's decisions and deliberations on this, but we will work through it, and the department will move forward as it always does when someone longstanding retires. Someone steps up to the plate and we continue on with the fine service that we've given them in the past.
Okay, we will look to Jan to help us schedule that. False alarm account, our Marine Division new motor controls.
Well, I'll kick this one off, and then I'll hand it off to Captain Marin for the nuts and bolts and the numbers. But we had budgeted in our current budget to replace the Marine Division motors. There's 2 outboard motors on Marine 127, as the commission knows. Unfortunately for the Darien Police Department, Evan Rood, which has been in business constructing Marine Division motors since 1907, decided in 2020 to fold up shop. And so that means no more Evan Rood motors. They were the most economical at the time we budgeted for them. That's why we did it. because replacing Evinrude motors with an Evinrude motor was kind of a plug and play. We can use the same controls. That was the most economical way to do it. Since we can't get that, our Marine Division guys looked at several different options, and they believe that going with Yamaha 4-stroke technology is the way to go. The downside of Yamaha motors is that from stem to stern, you have to replace all the motor controls, which is not an inexpensive proposition. If we do get Yamaha motors with 4-stroke technology and Evinrudes with 2-stroke technology, don't last quite as long. I think we would probably get more years of service out of the Yamaha motors. But replacing the controls, and I'll defer to Jerry with the actual numbers, but I think it's approximately $32,000 for the additional expense of the motors themselves and outfitting Marine 127 with all the controls and displays that are proprietary to Yamaha. You can't use Evinrude controls that are on there now with any other brand. I would recommend that we do fund that out of the alarm fund. The alarm fund was set up, to further the mission of the Darien Police Department, sometimes on unexpected expenses or things that came up that we didn't know that we would need in the budget process. There are available funds in the alarm fund to fund this.
Reporting a female inside attempting to withdraw funds with a fake
I
ID.
spoke to both the county administrator and the finance director about this, just again, working together as the team. We both have no opposition to funding this from the alarm fund. I think it's a worthwhile expenditure that will get us 5 years or more down the road. So, although it's not a inexpensive proposition, it's something that needs to be done for our boat to be operational this summer. And although we won't take our existing motors on a straight trade, the vendor will help us consign them. So the approximate $32,000 that we're looking for out of the alarm fund to retrofit Marine 127, we're probably looking at $14,000 to $16,000 in money coming back to the town when we do sell those motors. We won't take them in direct trade, but they will help us sell them. So there's going to be an offset there. So I would think at the end of the day, the expenditure actually to retrofit Marine 127 will be under $20,000. But I'll give it to Jerry now. I know he has the document from Derek Mulcahy, who oversees our Marine Division, with the actual numbers on that.
But Captain Shredders actually was the one in the most recent talks with Sergeant Mulcahy regarding the numbers. But what I will add is the Marine Division supervisory staff and the officers themselves really looked into this pretty deep. We knew it was coming once we heard the announcement made by Evinrude. We also know that we were going to have to make some type of a change. We were forecasting needing new motors around this time anyway, so the timing is kind of right. It's just we weren't expecting to have to switch manufacturers. I do also believe that Yamaha is going to be the best choice moving forward, both for servicing purposes and reliability and performance. It sounds like it kind of meshes with our current vessel pretty well. The only problem is adding the additional expense of the controls. But I will let Bob kind of talk about that. But Chief, I think he summed up everything else.
So for this budget year, we requested $33,000 from the town to replace the Evinrude motors, switching to the Yamaha brand, and with all the installation and the new components, it totaled out to $64,683. So we'd be looking for an additional $31,683 in funds to make up the difference with the $33,000. There's still a possibility we could sell the Evinrudes, and if we did that, it's anticipated maybe $6,000 to $7,000 per motor. And if we were able to sell them, that money would be could be returned to the town.
Can I ask, do we anticipate just a 5-year life of these? Do we do them on, running hours? What's the, like we replace our cars, we have a schedule, we know kind of, do we anticipate, we have in our minds these are 5, or sometimes they're more or less?
my understanding on Yamaha four-stroke technology, and I do know about Yamaha four-stroke technology, but in motorcycles and not in marine applications, I would think that we would be able to get 5 years, I would think, out of these motors. But moving forward, the controls should go with new motors. So I'm not sure what our life expectancy was on two-stroke motors, but I think we can squeeze a little bit more out of it with a four-stroke, just because it's, well, at this day and age, it's really not advanced technology, but it is more advanced than the two-stroke motors that typically have powered boats since boats were invented. So I would think, unless one of the captain knows something different, I would think that we can probably get 5 years out of the Yamaha four-stroke motor system.
And just given, I don't own a boat, but my understanding is there are basically no motors in the market right now. So because we are a police department, is there any sort of special order that we're able to do, or what does the timing look like for the motors and then therefore the controls as well?
I believe if we ordered them now, we wouldn't expect them until September, October.
So fall time frame for implementation.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah,
Thanks.
That kind of backlog, how does Evinrude go out of business from 1906? It seems to me this is the year you would want to be in the boat engine business. What happened?
They were bought out some years ago by Bombardier. It's a Canadian company that does everything from regional jets that you fly on to everything. So obviously they thought that division was no longer profitable. And I'm not a money guy, but if there was money to be made, they would still be in business. So I think four-stroke technology has moved to the forefront. I'm sure that has something to do with it.
Yeah, I mean, environmentally, two-stroke should be banned. Four-stroke is where you need to be at a minimum. Okay, well.
The only other thing I'll add, and this is just my guess, we had a very active Marine Division season in 2020, and I'm sure, we added an increased amount of hours. And so if we're forecasting or predicting a lifespan where it normally would probably be 5 years, as you mentioned, Chief, maybe it might be a little bit less traditionally if we're adding hours now that the boating season starts earlier and ends later. Just my 2 cents.
Okay. Any other questions before we make a motion? So I don't know, is it do you want a motion for the exact dollar amount or the funds just to cover the excess above the town budget to purchase the Yamaha? How would you like it?
What was the number, Bob? Was it 32 and change?
31,683 is what I wrote down. So
Yeah, I would maybe give a little bit of latitude there, maybe approve at this point 33,000. And then if we find out anything different, we'll come back to the commission. We always like to be 100% completely transparent here on these expenditures. So at 33, I think having any kind of price increase that we should be able to get into that number. That's what we tell the vendor. This gave us the quote. This is the number we have to spend. Make it work.
okay. Well, I make a motion that we approve the request for funds to cover the unexpected equipment needs of Marine 127 with the purchase of our new motors up to an amount of $33,000. Second. Any other discussion or questions? All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, that is unfortunate, but glad we have the money, and that's what it's there for. Okay, anything else as we get to the end before we pick another meeting date? Okay. Everyone, when is the next regularly scheduled meeting? We keep trying to hit on that date. We haven't been successful in a while, but when is our next regularly scheduled meeting for? Anyone have it?
I think it would be a week from today. I believe it's the 1st and 3rd or a week from tomorrow. It's on Thursday, the 1st and 3rd. So I don't think we're
That's the 22nd.
away. So I think
We don't need it the 22nd.
a special meeting most likely the following week.
So the 29th then, Kim, it would be a Thursday 29th?
That would be a special meeting. And if Kevin is away, if our next regularly scheduled meeting would be, I'm saying this out loud, May 6th.
That's been confirmed by Jan.
Does May
May
6th
6th.
work for people?
Works for me.
Kim, I'm here the 29th, so if we want to do the 29th, that's
okay.
fine. I'm gone the 22nd, but I'll be back on the 23rd.
I will be away on May 6th for my son-in-law's master's graduation.
Well, that's exciting. That's a good reason.
It is indeed.
Well, why don't we say the 29th? I don't, there's no magic. It's 2 weeks away, and since the chief is going to be gone on the 6th, let's not, we say Thursday, April 29th, 4 o'clock.
It works.
Are we, okay, yep. We can, I guess, talk offline if we're doing it in person. It's my second COVID shot. Hopefully I'll feel okay.
Hang on. I have Jan on speakerphone. Jan, I'm sorry, can you repeat that again?
You're talking about, first we should probably wrap up when we want to do the special meeting. And you know, if you're talking a meeting on April 29th, you could do it then, or did you want to have 2 meetings that week? I don't know.
So it would be a special meeting on the 29th and a regular scheduled on the 6th.
Or the week after, May 13th.
The commission is going to have to schedule a meeting after discussions about potential promotions to actually interview candidates.
Yeah, but that doesn't have to, that's usually decoupled from our commission meetings. So why don't we put April 29th at 4 o'clock in the books for the commission meeting, and then we can talk amongst ourselves to try to come up with what the exact calendar needs to be for interviews, because we'll have 2 sets of interviews. We'll have lieutenants and then we'll have sergeants. And anyway, I think that's probably better handled.
Did you get that, Jan?
I got it.
Okay.
I think on the 29th, if the commission so approves, that we will schedule an executive session for those discussions about performance evaluations and potential
Exactly.
restructuring or potential promotions within the department.
Yes, we will have executive session, and then we can schedule when the actual interviews and all of that takes place, which has to be after May 1st.
That's correct. After May.
Okay. Okay. Anything else? Awesome. All
I
right.
think I'm good.
Are we going to be, can we be in person? Is everyone, Kevin, Brent, are people here on the 29th if we wanted to?
I think the discussion in executive session about potential promotions is incumbent on us to be in person to have that discussion.
Well, that was where I was headed, but I wanted to make sure that, yeah, executive sessions need to be in person. So if everyone is okay, we will be at Darien Police Department on Thursday, the 29th.
Sounds good.
Okay, thanks, people.
Take care, everybody. Have a good day.
Have a good rest of your vacation.